It's been a while since I've done a Geek Gamers update, and I have for this update some indication of some things that I'm going to be presenting on the channel, some things I'm playing, some things I'm working on, and it should sort of take us through maybe the end of the year. We shall see. The first thing I want to talk about briefly, I'm super excited about this. I just got this yesterday. This is called Marching Order, a solo or co-op dungeon delve, the Mud and Blood edition, and it really is editions. It comes with two books as well as a deck of cards, and it is. I'm just getting into looking at it, but it's like a choose your own adventure plus, in a sense that you're going through pre-programmed material here. I don't know the degree of flexibility you have in terms of going back to the material yet. There are different exits and things. We're going to find that out. You have this is the rule book, and these are the characters that you have available to play. You're going to be playing more than one character because the concept here is that you're in a narrow corridor and you're going to be on your marching order and with multiple characters. But even just when I was just sleeving these cards, looking through the art on them was great, and this is definitely up my alley in terms of style, and I love the concept. From what I can tell thus far, when you're doing your battles, you're going to be laying out your party in a corridor versus some of the enemies that you're going to be encountering, and here are some of the enemy cards. So in that respect, I didn't shuffle them yet, but in that respect, it is board game-esque, let's call it, because you have these physical components, yet you're going through and you're going to be mapping out and drawing a dungeon as you go. I'm really, really excited to present that on the channel, which will be coming soon, and the aesthetic of this is also to my liking. And what I'm really enjoying in this and some other material that is coming out now is the expansion of this type of format into the newer, let's call it newer, drawing style, aesthetic style, and it works really well. And I think it's expanding the possibilities for these types of games greatly, because just almost philosophically, in a sense, you can understand that, and the language and the presentation here, which we'll get into when we do the video, it's different, let's just say, than traditional, like, choose your own adventure, old school in the kind of not great way. The inflexible, predictable, semi-boring. I was never really that into. I always wanted to like choose your own adventure materials more than I did, let's put it that way. And I'm so happy to see that there are people producing more flexible, more thematic, just differently executed types of within the loose rubric of that structure. So Marching Order, a solo or co-op dungeon delve, is coming soon to the channel. And speaking of this type of material, a viewer suggested Mystic Punks to me, and I can't find the comment on the channel anymore, so I can't acknowledge the viewer by name. I'm sorry about that, but when it was suggested, I looked it up. This is from Exalted Funeral Press, and this is also a choose your own adventure. It's a very different type of setting. Students have gone missing at Star Valley High School and no one seems to care. You determine that their disappearances are the result of an otherworldly invasion. As a teenage misfit, you've only ever used your mystic powers to perform dark rituals, but now those powers are the only thing that can save your classmates and stop a supernatural legion from consuming you and your school. So here in this game, you play one character, the aforementioned misfit, and I bought the I guess it's called, well, what is it called? The deluxe, collected edition. The 4 out-of-print role-playing game zines and a new final scenario that concludes your adventure. So, and it says this is the definitive Mystic Punks solo RPG experience. So you are definitely playing through a specific story here, and you are creating your character to do so, and then you're moving through the story and you begin investigating with these predetermined maps, and then you read the description, you have your encounters, whatever. So pretty sure this is definitely a one and done kind of thing. And the book one is one story and it goes through book five. So I'm not going to show too much from this because I don't want to ruin the surprise for myself, but this looks, I appreciate the recommendation. It looks like super enjoyable, and again, an expansion of this type of format into a different type of aesthetic and feel and approach, and looking forward to Mystic Punks quite a bit. And to get back to traditional fantasy in this area is this game, Paper Dungeons, a dungeon scrawler game. This is going to be coming to the channel soon. This is a paper, well, a scrawler, but it really is sort of a dice, not dice placement, dice usage game where you are rolling dice. You have four very traditional characters, a wizard, a cleric, a thief, and a fighter, traveling through a dungeon that you will map out as you go. And there are different cards that sort of change this layout a little bit. We can look here and see some of the other components here. You have these cards that add on to this basic thing, and you're rolling your dice, you're making selections of half the dice to use, and then based on the choices that you make, you get to do different things and make your way through the dungeon, accumulating treasure and ultimately points. This is a point-based game, so you're playing against the game, and ultimately to see how many points you can get to better your own score. Usually I don't like those kind of games, but I'm interested in this one because it is, again, it's kind of combining different mechanics that I haven't really seen before, the dice and the drawing in this way, with the set number of things that you can do and treasure that you can accumulate. So Paper Dungeons is it's a light, quick game, but perhaps good for the holiday season travel. You don't really need this whole box if you were going to take it with you somewhere. So Paper Dungeons, discussion of that is going to come to the channel soon, along with, it got me thinking about the idea of one-page dungeons, and I realized that I have in my arsenal a few print and play one-page dungeon games, basically. They're not all necessarily one sheet, but the dungeon being on one page. And I thought I would present a couple of those as well, because this is something, you could call it a filler game or whatever, but I enjoy these games from time to time, and there are a few other ones that we're going to take a look at alongside of Paper Dungeons. Now, I know I mentioned this in another video somewhere, but I just can't remember whether I showed this box or just talked about it, and I'm sorry if I already showed it. I just couldn't find it when I look back at the possible videos in which I would have mentioned it. In any case, I've got Traveler, and what I want to do for Traveler is to do a page through of the Traveler set that I have here, because I've got the 3 books that come in this box, and actually there are 4, because book 0 is just an introduction to Traveler, and it's also a discussion of role-playing games in general. This is dated 1981, and then I've got the Characters and Combat book, the Starships book, and I know I mentioned in another video the concept of maybe just building a starship on the channel and that being it. I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm going to go down that road. Maybe you can put in the comments whether that would be of interest. And then Worlds and Adventures. I'm coming back to this because in light of the Mothership video that I did, where I found so much lacking in those booklets that I purchased, it reminded me again of how I wanted to get back to Traveler, because there is so much that is here, and it's just interesting, I think, historically to look through it and see how it is presented. It's of course of its time, and in fact, if you look, I think it's in the Starships, the beginning here, there's a travel formula. So, it's very detailed, and I'm not going to go through necessarily all of that, but it's a lot of great source material, and I have not, and I again, I know I said this in some other video, but I haven't seen someone on YouTube yet presenting a look through for Traveler. Maybe by the time I get to it, someone will, but I think it's a good idea, and so I will be doing that, and maybe taking it a little bit further in terms of some rolling up some characters or a world, or at least discussing a starship. I'm not really sure, but that is definitely coming soon to the channel. And finally, in terms of, I don't know whether this is going to be coming to the channel or not, but after I did my video on the pen and paper dungeon crawls, and I was talking about For Against Darkness, I went back to look at For Against Darkness and realized I don't know whether this had been available and was newly available, or I just realized that I could get it again. But I bought more Mountainous Mayhem, and in preparation for its arrival, because it needs characters at 4 plus, I made up some characters and with the existing material that I had, and I have been playing them. I just finished, so my characters are at level 4, and I just finished an adventure here where I was defeating this eyeball monster boss, and it was really exciting. And my David the Druid was down to like 2 health, but did the thing that got the characters to the finish line, and I ended up with 560 gold all told in terms of what we got for the adventure and the things that we picked up along the way that we're going to sell. And I want to spend this money. So this is just not going to be, I'm not going to be doing a video on this per se, but this is now, I guess, transitioning into what's out on my table, because people want to know what I'm playing and off the channel. And so what is out on my table is this, and I'm going to go to this is a fan-made, I'm pretty sure this is not an official product, but the fan-made supplementary market here to spend my 560 gold, which is of course like always the really exciting thing for me and probably most of us. I'm going to spend that, and then I'm going to, next up, I'm going to get into this more Mountainous Mayhem book, which I haven't really read, but looks incredibly rich in terms of things that there are. And, you know, one of the things with For Against Darkness that is I like and I don't like is that there's always new classes and stuff. So I've got my characters here that I've stuck with and have enjoyed as a party. So I have Ruby Red, who is the assassin, and coming along with David the Druid, already mentioned, and Gimlet the Gnome. He's been around. Gimlet the Gnome has been around for a while. And then Lady Cynthia, the Wood Elf. So I've got this party of 4, but then I see there's just these new classes. And whenever I see a new class, I want to play that class and make a character there. So I don't know, maybe one of these guys is not going to make it, or maybe 2 of them will not make it through for the next adventure. But I do hang on to these characters and pick them back up. As I said, Gimlet has been around for a while, and these are some new character sheets. I'm always struggling to find the right For Against Darkness character sheet. I've never used this particular character sheet before, and I don't think I'm going to use it moving forward. I'm going to switch to something that looks a little more fantasy-esque. This looks like not thematic to me in terms of I like the layout, but I don't like the design of it. So I think I'm going to move along to something else. And in any case, so that's one thing I'm playing. I've mentioned this before in the other video that I quite like For Against Darkness. I think in terms of picking it up and putting it back down again, it works well for that, because the rule set is simple enough to remember, and the characters, you can create new ones and pick up new ones and drop them out, and all of that works really well. So that has been one of the things that I've been playing off camera during the past couple of, well, week, 10 days plus. And I also want to talk about Five Torches Deep. Now, I know I talked about this on another video, at least briefly, because I've had it for a bit. I'm definitely going to do a video on it, and I'm just trying to figure out the right way to make use of the tool that it is. And my original thought, I don't think I'm going to do, so I'm not going to revisit what that was. Now I'm thinking I'm going to take, so Five Torches Deep essentially is a way of, let me just use their language for it. It strips 5e to its skeleton and fleshes it out with OSR elements. The goal is to provide an old school experience to those familiar with 5e. It's self-contained and playable as is, assuming familiarity with fantasy RPGs. That said, I'm not just going to stick to Five Torches Deep. What I think I'm going to do is go to another piece of material that's also a way of playing 5e, which in this case is the one of many that Goodman Games puts out that is a 5th edition conversion and classic homage to the original D&D. In this case, it's Into the Borderlands, so it's module B1 and B2 as well. The Keep on the Borderlands and In Search of the Unknown. Sorry, it's Into the Borderlands is their name. It's In Search of the Unknown, which is the first module. That's the Mike Carr one, as well as the Keep on the Borderlands. That's the Gygax one. And what this book does, and if I'll go through it a little bit more, is it reproduces the original, and in some cases, like I think there's 2 reproductions of the original, as well as what they have done to update the original to be able to be playable in 5e. So then what I would be further doing would be taking that, the 5e conversion that they've done here, and bringing it up to Five Torches Deep. And then, of course, making it solo. So there's a lot of, there would be a lot of conversion going on there, but I think that's probably the best way to highlight what Five Torches Deep does, as well as to show a way of utilizing these great resources from Goodman Games. I only have bought this one. I'm stopping. I mean, they've been out for a while, and I finally bit the bullet and purchased it. I can't remember what. So this is 2018. I guess I thought they were out longer than that, but in any case, I just recently got this. I'm stopping myself from buying more because I haven't really made full use of this one yet, but there are many such of these editions available now. So the original Adventures Reincarnated is really cool, even just to own it. If you're not going to play it somehow, if you're interested in the D&D history and sort of the way people are manipulating and making flexible for today's gameplay style, the original material. So I think there's going to be the Five Torches Deep video, I think, is going to utilize this. I may also utilize my own 5th edition materials in that video. I don't know yet, but that's another project, another video project that's definitely coming along to the channel. In thinking about it now, is it going to make it into this year? Probably not. Maybe. Might be the last video I do, but more likely it will be coming in the new year. Now that I think about it and remind myself of all the work that will be needed to happen to present that to you. But I'm really excited about it. I just have not had a chance to do the right pairing yet, but I think this is going to be the right pairing. And then the other thing that I'm playing on my ancillary gaming table is Conquest of Planet Earth. I'm playing it with the Apocalypse expansion, and you could see it's been actually set up here for a bit. Unfortunately, I got a little distracted because it's in the side room and everything. I've got three aliens that I'm playing, 3 different factions, and honestly, I've forgotten sort of where. I think I'm at the resistance phase right now. This game, no more videos need to be made about this game, but if you watch the channel, you know I'm a big fan of Flying Frog. The only Flying Frog game really that fell flat for me was Shadows of Brimstone. I had I bought a ton of that content and then sold it, and that was really a real bummer. But I absolutely love their games, and this one's no different. I'm doing an alternate sort of setup just because I'm only the one playing. So I don't, if you know the game, you know that this is sort of meant to be set up slightly differently, but I don't do that. And it's just a bunch of great cards and fun art and easy to remember rules where you're doing basic add on with your d6. And yeah, so I don't have much to say about it, but I'm mentioning it just because people want to know what I play off the channel. And this is the kind of game I tend to play off the channel. I am playing it solo. Sometimes somebody from my family will come in and advise me on a turn or so. But with a game like this, at least for me, it's super so casual that that kind of thing works. And I do have it set up in a common area, so somebody could even come in and take a turn on my behalf, and that would be fine. So that's the other thing I'm playing off channel. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is what I'm not really going to show you, which is I've been working on over the past year or so different writing projects. And now there's a total of 3 writing projects that I'm working on. They're all going to be physical printed books that will be available for purchase. They're in various stages of completion, and I'm either finishing writing them in one case or in 2 other cases waiting for the publishers to finish doing what they're doing with them. So I've mentioned some of them before in various podcasts I've been on and on the channel a little bit, but that's been taking up a good amount of my time, and I'm hoping that this physical written contribution to the RPG community will be another facet of Geek Gamers moving forward, and I'm really excited about the 3 of them. And as soon as I can give more information about those, I certainly will. Sorry, I got a little cut off there, but point is that's been taking up some of my time, and I'm really excited about all of that material. So that's the Geek Gamers update. The last thing to say is I also I like to do some type of year-end video, so I'll be doing, and that's not going to be this one, so I'll probably be putting together some year-end video. I have some thoughts about that yet, but not totally sure in what form it will take, so you can look forward to that as well on the channel. And as always, really appreciate the support. I appreciate the suggestions for gaming content. In any case, I thank you for the engagement and the viewership, and please continue to make suggestions, share my content as you can, and thanks for watching.